On this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast, we learn geography. Today we're going to learn about Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a special administrative region of China. Did you know in Hong Kong, exorcists are white dude monks that have more high-tech gear than the FBI and CIA combined? We also learned that if you puke in a toilet, you could still wash your face in the toilet. Learn all that and more as we talk about Hong Kong horror on this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer podcast. 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 Time for the show. Yay.
What?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Attack of the Killer podcast, the only podcast made up of 11 secret herbs and spices. I am your host, Insane Mike, and this is episode 365, and we're going to be talking about horror movies from Hong Kong. Now, if this is your first time listening, Attack of the Killer podcast is a horror movie podcast where a group of friends get together with a topic and discuss horror films within that topic. We're just friends. We're hanging out. We're talking about our love for horror movies. So there's probably going to be spoilers. Although I don't really know how you can really spoil the movies we're going to talk about.
Good point.
Yeah. You know how those other podcasts bore you with it annoyingly begging you to sign up for their Patreon? Well, I'm going to do that too. However, I'm going to be doing it in the voice of Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. Here we go. We love you. We would love it if you would all support the show by donating to our Patreon. You can sign up by going to jointheattackers.com. There you can pick the tier that you want. As a way of saying thank you, you can get all kinds of perks and extra content for signing up. Now put the lotion in the basket. Thanks, Bill. When you do support the show, you become part of the Killer Podcast family that we call the Attackers. As an attacker, you get all kinds of perks from joining our exclusive chat called Attack of the Killer Chat. You can get access to our YouTube shows. We even have bonus episodes that are made just for the attackers. Now, the bonus episodes, they land on opposite weeks of the regular show, or you could even watch the bonus episodes live as we record them, and you could talk with us in the chat and actually be part of our conversation. Our next upcoming bonus episode, by the way, we're going to be doing part 2 of our discussion of movies we wish we could see again for the first time. Now, all you got to do to become an attacker is just go to jointheattackers.com, pick the tier that you want, and get all those wonderful perks. You can also get shout-outs on the show, like these attackers right here.
Timothy Lenner, Roman Doppelfeld, Larry Watanabe, Brett J. Royer, Jessica Irish, Chris Cook, Brian Godsell, Stefan Sitter, Brandy Moore, Andrew Mahler, Rodney Dean Hutchinson Jr., Carmen DeHague, Abraham Ariano, Andrew Bentler, Casey Kelderman, Tony Miller, Mike Clayton, Rose Talashoma, Abe Kirshner, Lisa Cavalier, Holly Berg, Bill Fisher, Greg Dedrick, Sam Lenz, Garth Jacobson, Brett White, Tiffany DeWeese, Scott Reebsman, and Chris Collins.
You too can be on that list. Again, all you got to do is go to jointheattackers.com, pick the tier that best suits you, and become an attacker today. And now it's time to introduce you to the podcast crew. Apparently, Water Power is one of his favorite movies, since he brings it up all the damn time. He mostly likes it because it has a happy ending. Brian.
I thought you were going to do a pivot and make that Jason's. Hello, everybody.
I was prepared.
See, it was a double twist. You like that? I made you think I was going to flip it. And then
there's
I
a
did.
double twist in that movie, too. Anyway.
He wants to see the new movie about the JFK assassination. He heard it's mind-blowing. Jason.
Oh, my Lord. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here.
I'm sorry, was that too soon? And now, our very special guest. His favorite movie is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He loves it because the main character has a twisted backstory. Please welcome to the show, Ryan Smith.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on here.
Thanks for coming, and sorry about the jokes.
They never stop.
They do not. Welcome to the show, Brian. Why
Thank
don't you...
And Ryan. This is going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Hi, Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, I work for Dreamhaven Books in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I've worked there off and on for the last 30-some years. Really did about 20 years at the store, and have been a lifelong film fan. And in the last couple of years, I was recently started doing some podcasts and a few YouTube channels where I guested, primarily talking about Hong Kong films. Got to do my first commentary last year with Bruce Holochek and Art Edinger for Her Vengeance, released by Vinegar Syndrome. So that was just an absolute thrill for me.
Sweet.
And hoping to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, congrats on all that. That's super cool. All right. Well, I can't wait to get into these movies with you, Ryan. It's going to be something. Now, first, I do want to say that Tad could not join us. He's on assignment right now. He's researching why a pair of pants is actually only just one.
Thank you.
So we'll keep you updated on that story as it develops. So I will take over the duties on Tad's segment, What We Watched. So let's find out what we watched. Hey, Jason.
Yeah, what's that?
What have you watched lately?
Oh, not much. I saw one movie, and it was fucking amazing. Tiff and I watched it. We loved it. Took a bit to talk her into it. It's 2.5 hours, and a little tough. And I wasn't able. I thought, because she's a girl, I'd be like, Ryan Gosling, and she's like, I don't care. Anyway. Project Hail Mary. Holy shit, I loved it. What a great sci-fi movie. I liked rocks before, but so much more now. I don't. You'll know. You know if you know. But yeah, it's wonderful. He basically wakes up in a spaceship and doesn't remember a lot and has to save the world. So endearing, and like. I have no problem with Ryan Gosling. I think he's great, and I think in plenty of movies, like The Stuntman, he does a great job of showing his humor. But man, I thought he was funny as heck in this. I think is that Brian saw it too. Yeah, just loved it. I loved it's a sci-fi movie, and the stuff they made up, and all the reasons shit was going apart, and all the things. It was just great. It felt good. And then I watched I watched a couple TV shows. We finished season 2 of Shifting Gears. That's the that one show with those people in it. And we started watching the new Stranger Things, Tales from '84. We're about halfway through it, and it's awesome.
Is that animated one?
Yep, the animated one. Takes place a little story in between season 2 and 3. And so everybody's there, and it's great. A whole different set of monsters. I love the art style, not only of
looks
the
kinda
packaging of it, but the animation is really cool, really good. And it's back in Hawkins, and it's great to get to be able to do that. So... that is all that I watched.
All right. Brian, what about you?
I'll keep this a little bit shorter than I usually do. I start out with the Blue Jean Monster, which I was actually texting Ryan about a little bit while I was watching it. Xing Fuyan, who's one of my favorite actors in these things. He's not in any of the movies we're covering tonight, but I actually think you guys would really like this one. It's a little less grotesque and mean-spirited and a little more fun. But he plays a cop who gets killed on the job, but he comes back to life as this sort of electrical vampire Frankenstein monster zombie guy to protect his family from the guys who are out to cause them harm and to see his child be born. It's like a supernatural RoboCop, kind of. That's not an exact parallel, but it's in that wheelhouse. And then Mike, I finally cracked open that box set.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And and so I started out with all the snippets, like the pieces of films,
the early
like the
stuff,
incomplete ones, the early stuff,
Yeah.
and because I wanted to kind of go in order, even though some of the incomplete fragments are still further into where he had like features out that you can still see.
Yeah.
And then I did watch, but so I think he's going to end up dethroning Al Adamson as my most watched director because all of those fragments are on.
On Letterboxd, yeah.
Yeah. So I watched Atlantis, The City of Sin, Boadicea, Gods and Heroes, Seventh Day, Insight, and then Tristan and Isolde, which is the first of the. Well, it's mostly
Yeah.
there. It's like an hour long, but that's the one that starts out. A lot of it is soundless fragments with no dialogue, and they just put some music over it because he was like filming a screening of it with a camcorder or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing that really blew me away about the early, and that one was just kind of dull, especially when you have these big stretches with no dialogue, but it's people talking.
Yeah.
There's not much to look at. But the Atlantis, Boadicea, and Gods and Heroes really impressed me because those were his earliest efforts. I think Atlantis was like 67 or something like that. So his first three films really, or attempts at them, are effects heavy historical fantasy epics. That's
Yeah.
that's like learning how to use a basic tool set and going, okay, now that I know how the screwdriver works, I'm going to build a functioning spaceship.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that to
Yep.
yourself? That
It's
is
like
madness.
Jumping into the deep end before taking
Yeah.
one swimming lesson, yeah.
But the amazing thing is, and there's a lot of forced perspective shots, and I mean, it all had to be in camera because they're Super 8 films. You develop the film that's in the camera, and that is all you get. You cannot do double exposures and camera tricks and all that kind of stuff. And the effects look so good. I mean, yes, of course, they look like they were made for $5, but they don't look like they were
comparatively,
made for
yeah.
$5 by a total amateur. He
Yeah.
clearly knew what he was doing and how to make that stuff look good with the. I mean, and for a given value of good, you're not going to put this in and think it's Clash of the Titans or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's fucking impressive
Yeah.
for an early effort or for early efforts.
That's one of the things that is always like that's been so fascinating to me is that he's just always been doing these like do it yourself films, but they're just on such a different level. It feels like the cheaper that they're made, the more production value that you get out of them.
The more inventive they are.
Yeah. And he's telling stories that you normally don't see in do-it-yourself style, no budget filmmaking,
Right.
especially when you're in genre filmmaking. So that's why I love him.
And then finally, thanks to our friends Casey and Sam over at the Screams from the Basement podcast, I had to sit through Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bowlerama again.
You got
But-
to. It was a treat.
Now, I still don't like the movie. I'm not saying this changed my mind on it, but the experience, getting to watch it with them doing the intro and with Brink Stevens and Michelle Bauer, they're also doing, did a little intro and then a Q&A after, and the State Theater is gorgeous. I don't know if you guys have seen any photos they've ever posted of it or anything, but like that's one of the coolest theaters I've ever been in. It's just incredible. So, this was part of the overall Screams by Night halfway to Halloween convention, which we went up to, and I sold some books at, and Reeb sold me a poster. Damn it. He knew I was coming. He texted me a picture of it and said, I'm bringing this. But he also gave me some Paul Naschy postcards, which are very cool.
Yeah.
So I'll show those off on a horror hangout sometime. But
Okay.
anyway, so as we were sitting at the table, at one of the lulls of the crowd, then Michelle got up and was walking around checking out all the different vendors, and she came over to our table, and of course I had my books set up there, and then we had some boxes of other things, some gothic romance books and horror novels and whatever else. And she was specifically looking for some Stephen King short stories. And I was like, well, if you like short stories here. So I just gave her a copy of Putting the Ground to Sleep. It's like, you don't have to take a chance. Maybe she'll love it. Maybe she'll think it sucks and give it to Fred Olin Ray, and he'll like it and he'll want me to write a script for him. Who knows? But it was kind of fun because we were chatting while she was looking through all the stuff. We kind of bonded a little bit over, we both are huge fans of Night Gallery. So we were like even naming specific episodes, and So when we were getting ready to leave at the end of the event, a little after party at the brewery, like she was in the middle of her dinner and like put her food down and got up and came over and gave us hugs. Like it was just really
Aw.
sweet. She's very, very cool. So
I always assumed she was. I mean,
yeah,
but all three of them. Linnea is awesome. Brink is awesome. Michelle's the last one I haven't met, so that's the bucket list there. Was that it for you, Brian?
yep, that's it for me.
Ryan, what about you? What have you watched lately?
Well, I'm not going to go into the whole list, but
Sure.
I've actually been preparing to do part 2 of another podcast, which is focusing on 1983 Hong Kong horror films. So I've been watching things from that year, 1983, and then all around it, just kind of. I've seen all these things a bunch of times, but I wanted to refresh my memory on them. But something that I just watched that is going to be really old news to everyone and you guys is I finally watched the first season of True Detective
Oh, nice.
Oh,
because I needed a break just from.
right.
I bought so much stuff at Cinema Wasteland too. Other films, the Spanish box set that came out, and the Thai horror
need to
box
get that.
set, and I haven't been able to touch any of it because I've been researching Hong Kong films, which is just fine. I'm not complaining,
Right.
but I took a break, and I really enjoyed that True Detective, which I knew I would because everybody I knew watched it, and the acting, the writing, the sort of tie-ins with the Robert W. Chambers King in Yellow was really interesting to me. So that was a refreshing break that I needed, and I blasted them out in, I think, 3 days. So
When we watched that, Terry had seen it, so she's like, "We should watch this True Detective show. I think you'd like it." I'm like, "Okay." And the name suggests that it's just a detective show. So when it started dropping all these hints about this cosmic horror stuff, it was like, "Wait a minute, are they gonna do what I think they're gonna do? Did that guy just say Carcosa? What the fuck?" That was cool.
it was. And boy, the last season that came out, I've not seen it, but I know it ties into the first season somehow. And I can't believe
vaguely.
how many copies of The King in Yellow we sold at the store over the last year or so because of that. Unbelievable.
Really, that's cool.
Dozens and dozens of copies.
Very cool. Well, for me, what I've watched recently, I'm going to start off with a movie from '88 that horror movie from '88 that never got around to until I just recently found it at a pawn shop. Cameron's Closet. It's one of those movies that, at the height of like Fangoria back in the '80s, where the special effects were the real stars of the movie, that kind of stuff. I remember seeing the articles for this film and all the screenshots of the gore kills and the cool looking monster that lives in the closet. So it was one that I always wanted to see and never got around to for some reason. I just think maybe because I don't think any of my video stores ended up getting it. So I don't know how big of a release it got back in the day. But it's father, played by Tab Hunter, experiments on his son's psychokinetic powers, is unaware that these experiments release a demon from hell, which lives in his son's closet, preparing to take over the boy's soul. And it's okay. It definitely didn't live up to all the years of hype, I guess. But, it's at the end of the day, it was rather kind of generic with just some like spooky supernatural things going on. I mean, it's no Hong Kong film, that's for sure. But, just overall uneventful. So I guess I can see why it didn't make an impact back in the day and didn't end up being a classic like a lot of the other films of its ilk. Continuing on with my Italian horror films, I did a rewatch this time instead of watching something new, but I just couldn't help it. I needed to do a rewatch of Don't Torture a Duckling from 1972, directed by Fulci. God, I
Did you
love
catch
this
it when
movie.
it was on Joe Bob?
Oh, no, I don't think I did actually. I
So
don't
it was
remember.
pretty recently.
Yeah, I The fact that Joe Bob plays on Friday nights, and I usually close at work Friday nights, I usually miss it, and I keep telling myself to go back and rewatch them, and I never do. So, yeah. So either I miss it or I catch at least the first half of the second movie before I fall asleep. One of the two. Anyway, yeah, I love this one. It's probably my favorite Giallo film, and it's also one of my all-time favorite Fulci films as well. Just super sleazy. Definitely a film that couldn't be made today. And I feel like it has one of the greatest falling off a cliff scenes in all cinema.
Oh yeah, that is an all-timer dummy drop.
Oh yeah, yep. Watched some TV. I got through season 5 of Invincible already.
Oh yeah, me too.
Oh, freaking loved it.
So good.
Love that shit so much.
It's so good.
It's so good. Well, it's everything that I want out of like a modern day superhero thing for adults, because it's like it's got all the violence and the gore, that you would expect from stuff like maybe The Boys or whatever, but it also doesn't do the shock for shock's sake like The Boys do with a lot of its sexual content.
So much heart. Sean Young's performance.
And that's just it. Yeah, it's got a lot of heart to it. But for me as a comic book fan, a guy grew up in superhero universes, I love how this whole thing is just him doing his own superhero universe, and it's so vast and all thought out, as if Invincible was a character that's been around for 60, 70 years, like a Spider-Man or a Batman or whoever. Just a whole universe that, there's just moments in the show where it's not even about Invincible, and that's what I love about it. But this season,
that ending, dude,
getting to the Viltrumite War. Oh, yeah, the ending.
Mm-hmm. For one of those quiet endings, it was more...
Such a jaw-dropping ending for just being a quiet little conversation in the clouds, yeah. Last thing I'll bring up is it's another movie that I just got around to from 2016, War Dogs, directed by Todd Phillips. Now, I like Todd Phillips movies, and I'm still not 100% sure what I think of this one. It's loosely based on the true story of two young men who won a $300 million contract from the Pentagon to arm Americans' allies in Afghanistan. And I just got to say, between this movie and The Joker, someone needs to remind Todd Phillips that he's not Martin Scorsese. I'll admit that I got a little snobby at first, which made it kind of a hard time to get through, because the whole time I'm watching it, with its casual voiceover narrations and flashy montages with pop music over top, all I could think about were movies like Casino, Goodfellas, Wolf of Wall Street. But eventually, I did get kind of sucked into the film and started enjoying it a little bit more. Jonah Hill's got some pretty funny moments, and so overall, it's kind of a mixed bag for me, because it just really feels like he's just kind of ripping off what Scorsese did. But at the same time, I get to thinking, I watched one more film I'll mention just in brief here real quick. I did another rewatch of the 2001 movie Blow. And now I'm realizing, maybe it's just a rule that all criminal biopics need to be a Scorsese film. Because that too had like the voiceover narration through the whole movie, montages with 70s and 80s rock music. And Blow even has Ray Liotta in it as well. So, like, how much more can you rip off Scorsese than that? So, I don't know. Maybe that's just a rule, and I should give Todd Phillips a break. Anyway, that's what I watched. Oh, yeah, still me. So now it's time to get into our movies for this topic, which is Hong Kong horror. Or as I like to call it, what the hell did we watch?
Yeah.
Brian, what's our first movie?
Well, the first film is 1982's Hell Has No Boundary. I love the little sting from the releasing company right at the end. So, Cheng Yung and Wang Laifen are a couple and a couple of cops. They're co-workers at the same police station. And one day they go camping, and during the night she is accosted, I guess, by this strange green light. And the next day and following days at work, she's acting very strangely, very out of character, and events start to stack up that suggest that maybe something happened on that camping trip that possessed her. And wow, the reveal in this one is why I love this movie so much. So she actually is possessed by herself in a previous life, and all the people around her, her boyfriend was actually her brother in the previous life, and her boss and the co-workers at the police station, and she was wronged very badly in this previous life by all of them, and is now taking her supernatural revenge. I want to hear what you guys thought of this one before we go any further, because this is the movie that I really wanted to do this topic for, to make you guys watch this.
Do you want to go, Jason?
I'm trying to gather my thoughts here.
I can go first if you want.
Yeah.
Okay. I loved this movie. It's definitely some of the craziest shit I think I've ever seen, and I've seen some crazy shit. It's just so much fun. This would be such a great movie to spring on your friends at a party or something. You know, it's so much fun. There's definitely a lot of similar themes in the movies we're going to talk about throughout this. But this one I think is the zaniest, and also unlike maybe the other two, this just goes right out of the gate. Like, it doesn't waste any time getting to the wackiness. I do appreciate,
and by wackiness you mean her trying to stab that kid with a barbecue fork.
Yeah. That kid. Drown his ass.
This movie came to my attention because of our friend Erica, who and her love of dead children in movies. Because this one. So it's funny, Mike, that you say this was the zaniest, because I think this is the least zany of all of them, or at least it isn't as gross as most of them. But I think it makes up for the lack of slime and gore by being maybe the most mean-spirited out of any Hong Kong horror movie I've seen, outside of like a Cat 3, like a real down and scummy one. But Ryan, can you think of any that are just hate children more than this one?
No, I mean, I think that's a really great point. I can't really think of anything else besides, like you said, the Category 3 films that you and I love so much.
Yeah, we had to avoid those for this episode. I was
given strict instructions.
Scolded, yes. So was I. That was. If it were my druthers, this would be an Anthony Wong fest. But
well, unless I'm getting them mixed up again, I just feel like the kills and then some of the scenes where they're fighting the possessed woman are just so off the wall.
You're right. There is one kill in particular in this one that is so wacky that it almost seems out of place. And that would be the lecherous boss getting killed by the flying toilet paper after a crab bites his dick off in the bathroom.
Yes. is, even though that's the most over top, I'm going to still say like most of the kills in this just kind of go that little extra mile, because it's not enough that the possessed witch / werewolf woman, whatever she is.
You are thinking of a different movie. We're talking about Hell Has No Boundary. You're talking about Possessed.
God damn it! The possessed is when she turns into the werewolf.
Correct.
Okay, and then
That
she's.
one's the most.
This is the one where when we get to the flashback scene at about the halfway point, we find out that the little girl whose spirit is possessing the main character was sold by her family, and you are set up to think that something horrifically sexual is about to happen, and it doesn't. And then you almost think that would have been better than what actually happens to the indignities heaped upon this poor girl's corpse after she is smothered to death with a pillow, hollowed out, like her guts pulled out and thrown into a corner, her carcass stuffed full of drugs. And then these drug smugglers use her corpse to smuggle these drugs across the border. And then once they get there, they pull the drugs out and just throw her body in a ditch because they're like, oh, we don't need this anymore. And then somebody finds it and chops it up and sells her for meat.
Goat meat, yeah.
See, yeah, I remember all that. Maybe I'm just the werewolf stuff I was confusing, but this one, I mean, it's got the scene where she kills the two women in the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so much that she just traps the elevator, but then like to use her mental powers to, weld a hole in the floor for them to fall through to their deaths. I mean, kudos to going that extra mile. I mean, if this was some possessed person in us lazy Americans, they would have just made the elevator fall and they would just die that way. But no, she mind welds the floor out for them to fall down. She uses her mental blowtorch to take out, and that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It's just like there's those little extra miles of like, and usually when you would see a movie like this in America and they're trying to figure out, what's going on. Those kills are set up to look like accidents. There's no way the fact that the floor has been ripped out from underneath of the elevator could this ever be perceived as an accident. But I also feel sorry for that one actress that like fell and landed like upside down, and she had that like horrible looking stage blood that was obviously going right up her nose as it was dripping down. That had to have been the worst thing ever.
That's probably the least of her worries as a Hong Kong actress as to what might be put inside of her mouth.
True.
Yeah, that's very true. At least it wasn't bugs.
This is true. But also, like when, I forget who it was now, but when the one guy who's in his office and he's about to get attacked by that dog, that's not enough. Let's open the drawer and then there's a freaking cobra in the drawer as well. It's all these kills just go that little extra mile with just random animals popping in and out of nowhere, like crabs in the bathtub.
Yeah, I think,
and she does a tremendous death stare. Like she could kill you with that look that she has when she's doing these things. I love that.
Yeah, I think Brian nails it with the mean-spiritedness of it. Like she is, we don't learn it till later, but is warranted maybe, but probably definitely. But it's a fire starter, but with she was.
I never even thought of that, but yeah, kind of. It was a good cross between The Exorcist and
Carrie a little bit. I mean, just with the telekinesis, it comes off that way, bending bullets and stuff.
Well, what year did Firestarter come? Well, Carrie was much earlier than this.
Yeah.
I would say because a lot of times it would be some inspiration would be taken for we're going to go on all these crazy tangents, but there will be an element much like Italian genre cinema of trying to take some things from American films that were big hits at the time to help with the box office. But
actually, Frank Zhang on his commentary mentions The Omen. He had real Omen vibes for some of these kills in this.
I listened to that as well, and didn't he say that because the Omen and was it also The Exorcist had just been released there and were big hits? There were two,
Yeah,
the
I
Omen
believe
and
that.
something else, or
I
two
think you're right.
supernatural films that had just been released in Hong Kong and were yeah. That commentary is great. I love he was talking about Ming Si, who's the one who gets the upside down and the blood in her nose. Apparently claimed to be able to see ghosts and hosted like paranormal TV shows and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He also, did you guys recognize the blind fortune teller? Sorry, we keep cutting Jason off. First of all, I should
No,
let
you're
him
fine.
say something.
I'm with you. But what about the fortune teller?
Oh, it's Ho Pak Kwong, but did you guys recognize him? Did he look familiar at all?
No.
No, sorry.
Because IMDb gives him 335 credits. Frank Jang says it's closer to 500, and I trust him way more than I trust IMDb. But one of those credits is he is the janitor that Ginger kills in Ginger Snaps.
Oh, nice. It's been so long since I've seen Ginger Snaps. I would never have made that
Those
connection, but
together.
that's cool. Very cool. Awesome. But yeah, to sum up, I had a lot of fun with this one.
And I love that all the usual remedies don't work. Like they try so many things. Like, well, maybe this will make the ghost go away. Make her look in this mirror. Do this, that, and the other thing. But her vengeance, because like Jason said, like it's so well deserved. Like she has every reason to be doing this, and it makes her so powerful. I love the trap that Inspector Wong sets for her when he gets her in the car,
Yeah.
and then she realizes it's a trap and turns and looks at him, and he rolls up the windows, and he's got the Taoist prayer scrolls on the windows, and then the windshield washer filled with the chicken blood that runs down, and it's like traps her in the car. She ends up blowing out through the roof, but I thought that was really brilliant.
So that's what I appreciate about like all these movies is I have a difficult time with like possession films or supernatural stuff because it just or ghosty films because it just feels like a lot of times you can say, well, this happened in the movie, which is completely unnatural, but it was because it was a ghost or because that person was possessed. It was like the rules just get made up as you go along, and anything goes because they're possessed or whatever. And yes, these movies have a lot of anything goes, but I also feel like they stay true also to their rules and mythologies, and better than say like an American possessed film or whatever, and the stuff that can defeat the demons or possessed people or whatever are also, to us anyway, wacky and over the top, but also those rules are maintained, and some of those things are so simplistic that it's like almost makes the demon or whatever less threatening than say a normal human, if I'm making any sense. It's like you said with the prayer skulls. Take like Mr. Vampire, Mr. Vampire, to stop the hopping vampires, you just put that parchment over their faces and they're just done. But like say werewolves, for example, you got to shoot them with a silver bullet. Well, who has silver bullets laying around? So it feels like it's easier to maybe defeat them in a way, if that makes any sense.
Well, I think part of the reason for that, and Ryan, you can either correct me or back me up on this, but Americans have such a it's all superstition. We don't really put any stock in this anymore outside of some people here and there, but in Hong Kong and China and so many other places in the world, they're a lot more connected to their mythology. Like it's more real to a lot more of the population, so it makes sense that this stuff would be more easily accessible. Would you say that's accurate?
I would say so. I mean, this is a great tale of, somebody who is so wronged in her previous life and refuses to head off to reincarnation because she wants vengeance upon all the people who did that to her. So that is really true in keeping if you subscribe to that sort of reincarnation philosophy.
Cool.
Yeah. Jason, was there anything else you want? Like I said, I feel like we
No, I mean,
kept running off
it was fun watching a cop show with crazy shit going on. It was.
I would like to say the director has done a few other notable sort of films. I don't know if you guys have happened to see. I know Brian has seen Seating of a Ghost.
I was going to bring that up.
But to me, that might be the movie that he's best known for. I'm really glad that we're finally seeing, because there hasn't been a release of Hell Has No Boundaries since 2007. And that was an import DVD. It never was released here in the U.S., so it's really cool that this is finally getting an audience now. Because for a long time it was sort of not lost, but it just wasn't accessible to a lot of people.
Yeah, it was really hard to see because that Vinegar Syndrome Shaw scare set is the first time this has had an like official U.S. release. Isn't
Correct. Yep. So, and it looks amazing. But yeah, I've always been a big fan of that director, Richard Young Kuhn. Besides Sitting of a Ghost, he did a movie that Bloody Beast, which is a Category 3 movie, which I would advise two of you to stay away from. If anybody suggests that you want to watch it, one of the movies
Mike would probably be down for it.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
I'm down for anything.
Okay, good. He did a horror film from 1959 that's called Flying Corpse on a Foggy Night. And it actually, I've never seen it. And I believe it was considered to be a lost film up until fairly recently. And I didn't even know this until I listened to the commentary by Frank Zhang. And he said that somebody has found a print of it in San Francisco, he thought. So
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm hoping that we can get to see that, because a lot of the earlier sort of films like that, they're just not out there. So that would be one that I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that eventually we'll get to see, because it is so far in the past from 1982 all the way back to 1959. I'm just based on the title, it almost looks like it was probably based on the folklore story, I bet.
Yeah, it has a very folkloric title. I don't think I've seen Bloody Beast.
No, you haven't seen that one?
I don't think so.
Well,
I'll have to be on the short list for next.
I can help you out.
Yeah,
I see it in your future.
excellent.
Well, what else do you guys have to say about Hell Has No Boundary?
I
Anything?
think we covered everything in my
Oh.
notes.
All right. Cool.
Brian, is there anything else you wanted to
No, I
lay
think
down
we
for that
we
one?
covered enough of the story, and yeah, I think
Yeah, now that we
was
gave
good.
away everything that happened in the movie.
It still needs to be seen to believe. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jason, what's our next film?
Our next film is from 1981. It is Bewitched.
我也不知道为什么会变成性无能的，我怀疑真的给人下了降头了。什么？我亲手杀死了自己的女儿，我都不知道为什么会做出这样的事情。我想清楚的知道，是一种什么力量驱使我干出这种事。我一直不相信有降头这种事，这件案子不是那么简单。我要到南阳去一次。这种降头能不能解？
我可以试试，但是所谓道高一尺，魔高一丈，胜负不可预测。
降头师已经来了香港。
我碰到的是飞将，那个降头师养了个小鬼来杀我。
现在不是我和你的事了，是我和降头师的事，是正和邪的生死决斗。
这个邪魔是非常厉害的，要用9寸的大钉子在头上钉死他。
From the delightfully deranged world of Hong Kong horror comes 1981's Bewitched, a movie that feels less like a coherent narrative and more like a demonic fever dream captured on film. The basic plot, as best as anyone can piece it together, follows a man targeted by black magic after a woman he wronged unleashes a curse involving evil spirits, occult rituals, exploding bugs, vomiting blood, and enough supernatural chaos to make the exorcist look restrained. This sleazy, bizarre, and often genuinely unsettling and completely unhinged in ways only early 80s Hong Kong cinema could deliver. Even if these movies aren't exactly good, finger quotes, in the traditional sense, there's something undeniably entertaining about watching filmmakers throw absolutely every insane idea at the screen and somehow commit to all of it with total sincerity. That's kind of wanted to say to you, Brian. Like, I know I rated these low, but like, I love that they go for it in every one of these. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's hard not to appreciate that.
Well, and that's especially with movies like this, as opposed to like the more grounded in reality but much nastier Category 3 type movies, is the closest thing you'd ever get to something like these movies in Western cinema is something like Evil Dead.
Yep.
Where it's people who understand how to make movies, and maybe they know the rules and don't care, or maybe they're breaking rules they don't really even know are there because it's coming from all that youthful energy and just wanting to go for it and do everything. Whereas in these movies, it's in Hong Kong horror, they're all crazy, but the crazy is so sincere. It's not coming from a place of we're trying to make a B movie or a weird movie. They're just throwing everything they can at the screen to be entertaining. And that was maybe Ryan, you remember it. I think it might be Ghost Nursing. It's on one of the Vinegar Syndrome Hong Kong releases, where in the interview section, where they're talking to somebody from the production. I forget if it was a writer, director, or whatever, but they're talking about the Taoist hand movements as they're doing the spells. And the guy they're interviewing is like, none of this is real Taoist stuff. We just figure no one watching is going to know either, but it looks good on screen, so we just made all this shit up. But I said, it's not coming from a callous, calculated, like a Sharknado type of, we're going to make a B movie. No, they're just trying to entertain you. It's all so sincere. And that's what I love so much about it.
Yeah, and this movie is actually a Boxer's Omen, which I believe all you guys have seen. This is actually the first film. Boxer's Omen is the sequel to Bewitched.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the scene at the end of Bewitched is at the beginning of Boxer's Omen, and I still feel like people are still discovering that the two movies are actually related. The Chinese title of this movie is actually Goo, which has a couple different translations. Insanity or Poison, one of those, which both fit the title to a T. The director is a legend, as far as like certainly the best of any of the directors that did Shaw Brothers horror films. His name's Kwai Chi Hung. He didn't start off doing the horror films for Shaw Brothers, but he was very political in some of his earlier films, and the Shaw Brothers were they played to favorites, and if they thought that you weren't like a high-level sort of director, you would get put on other projects and have to fight for resources. And apparently Kwai must have got on, I don't know if he was on their bad side, so to speak, but he ended up getting relegated to doing a lot of the horror movies, which was maybe lucky for us because I don't know how many of his horror films you guys have seen, but he's got an incredible body of work.
I don't think I've seen all of them, but I've definitely seen a good chunk of them. And yeah, I love his stuff.
This was the first one I saw, so my memory's not super great on it after the crazy shit I saw after it. But I to me, it was like sort of like the Hong Kong version of The First Power, which I like, where it's just good guys trying to chase down the evil guy, the Satan guy, the bad guy, and
Yeah.
it was cool like that. And the little bat was adorable.
Which is carried over into Botchism too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right.
What do you think, Mike?
I liked it. I mean, this one I feel like took a little bit longer to get going than the other two, but it still had a lot of great stuff, a lot of fun stuff.
Discover the rotting corpse of a 9-year-old child with a nail pounded through her skull in the first 30 seconds of the movie. What do you mean it started slow?
All in there.
Yeah, but then after that, it's just
That's true. Then there's a lot of him being a scumbag in Thailand before.
yeah. And I will also say, out of all of the superhero monks in these movies, the one at the end of this one's my favorite. He was just so badass. There in that final scene in the train station.
I was scared.
I don't know about you. I mean, you could look at it as maybe like a flaw in filmmaking, but in this era of 70s through the early 80s, when you would get those flares where it's almost like a double image, because the light is hitting the lens weird, and it's causing you usually see that in fire gags and stuff, where there's a double image of the fire because the way the bright light
They
is.
play a lot. They found a fancy lens, and they used the shit out of it at the end of this one.
I really liked it. I thought it worked a lot, and that final cool ass scene where he's sitting there and the monk is sitting there and he's got that aura glow over top of him, which, I mean, I don't know how it was done, but it looked like it was an in-camera trick and not a post effect, which I really appreciate because it had that same feel to it as the reflecting on the lens effect. So I thought that stuff was cool, which also gave the whole movie. It could come off as annoying or it looks like shoddy filmmaking.
There's a lot of it there.
There's a lot of it, and and it's just come on, guys, do another take and get that reflection out of there. But I think it added to the film, gave it a lot more dreamlike quality throughout it. But that final little fight wasn't huge or anything, but I thought it was really cool. And just when the bat flies at him, he just grabs it, puts it in his pocket, and. But what's with that one single lady?
Right.
Yeah, it's like a deserted train station, but for that one terrified woman who's like, what the fuck did I just walk into?
And then just stands there and watches until she passes out. She was my favorite character of the whole movie.
See, I would have thought that would have climbed to your number one favorite balloon effect scene is the one from this.
There's a lot of balloon gags in all three of these movies. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He really pops in this one.
He pops.
Well, that's another thing that's really inventive in these films is some of those effects. Whether you're not getting your typical this person's melting effect or this perfect person is morphing into another creature effect. Transformation sequence. You get these weird balloon blisters that are popping up all over the place, or they start just randomly bleeding green slime from different points on their body that you don't even see a hole in, and stuff like that. Or in that final scene again, and some of it's just it looks very do it yourself, but at the same time it's also how'd you do that? I like how when he was transforming, his body was started to get covered in dried flour all over his body. I thought that was a really cool looking effect as well. Again, I don't know what was happening. I don't know what that meant. Was he turning to stone? I don't know, but it looked cool.
Well, and this is, carries on the great tradition of wizard battles. Watching the monk and Magusu square off against each other, and that's a pretty standard thing you see in a lot of these black magic movies, but it always makes me think of The Sword and the Stone, when Merlin and Madam Mim are going back and forth.
100%, yeah.
But you're talking about the whether the rainbow halo thing was an in-camera effect, and I think pretty much everything in that, because a lot of these movies you do get laser bolts, or if you see something like Battle Wizard, or where there's a little more of the martial world element to it, where there's like, laser beams and all this crazy stuff. But I don't think there are any effects in this that aren't in camera, are there? Except maybe one, and it's one that I really love, and I don't think I caught it the first time I watched it, is when they're holding up that talisman that has the curse in it.
Yeah.
And light shines through it, and he looks over and sees the reflection on the wall, and in that little bit of refracted light, you see the demon that's cursing him.
Okay.
And that's one of the only times I can remember where you get a glimpse of the other side, the supernatural realm, and see the entity that's really causing all this stuff. Because usually you just see the cause and effect, right? You see the evil wizard doing something, crazy, like drinking out of a cauldron of fetus broth. Yes. But you don't really get to see, what the entities that are surrounding them in the ether, whatever you want to call it, look like. But you see this long, taloned, demon masked creature just show up in this bit of reflected light on the wall. And I just thought that was such a cool touch.
Gimmicks. That's what Kwai Chi Hung called all these things in these horror films. He's like, people like to see gimmicks in these films. So he had his whole bag of gimmicks for this movie. And even up the ante more in Boxer's Omen, which is just so psychedelic, I still can't believe it.
I almost like this one better than Boxer's Omen, with the caveat of the ending is so abrupt.
Yeah.
In this, like, he's just, here's a bat. Oh, stuck it in his purse and it's done.
Yep.
No, that's it.
Yeah. So that's a little jarring, but again, you know me, I love mean-spirited movies. So that this one is, starts out with, oh yeah, this guy fucked around on a woman, so she cursed him and made him murder his daughter with a hammer. It's hard for me to not love that.
And that's such a classic black magic sort of setup for these films. Hong Kong, apparently, they felt that things like that might happen, but usually in places like Thailand or some other Southeastern Asian countries. So most of the setup for all these black magic movies is some guy going to that country and then fooling around with a woman, and then he gets bewitched or hexed, and then goes back to Hong Kong and has some problems.
Yeah, well, and that it's almost like you could equate it to what in the West we would call backwoods or hillbilly horror, right? Like, it's kind of the same idea of, like, you go to out in the boonies in Texas and there's Leatherface's house and you fuck around at his house and you're going to pay for it. And in these movies, it's the same thing. Like, these other Southeast Asian countries are always kind of portrayed as being a little bit backward, which, I mean, is, it's probably just as offensive to somebody from Thailand to see this as it is for somebody from the South to watch Deliverance and think that we all think that of them. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But when he gets cursed, like, as you see in the flashback bits where Von Braun, the girl that he fucks over in Thailand and then ditches, she's collecting this, bits of hair and this information and stuff before he stands her up. So was this whole thing a trap? Was she just going to do this to anybody? Or did she just assume off the bat that because he was some city guy from Hong Kong that he was going to betray her and that he just deserved it? Like, she assumed he deserved it? What do you think that was all about?
Maybe just in case.
Yeah.
Oh, I better learn this guy's birthday and get some of his hair just in case, and give you the necklace with the corpse oil in it.
Yes, on that corpse oil. When we're introduced to Magusu as he's obtaining the corpse oil, that is so good. He tickles the foot of the corpse and it sits up, and then he lights holds the lighter under the chin. And
he's in a few other movies like this too.
Yeah, he's the Seeding of a Ghost that we talked about before.
He's in Centipede Horror and Red Spells Red as well.
Yes, two extremely gross movies. Grosser than this one, I think. At least Centipede Horror is.
Red spells red is a tough one to suggest to people, especially people that are sensitive to, animal violence, because it is more along, the sort of things that we would see in Italian cannibal movies in Red spells red.
Oh, okay.
Well, and it was funny because this one claims to introduce him, right? And it's like introducing Hussein bin Abu Hassan, because they try to sell, like apparently in the publicity, they tried to sell the idea that they had really gone to Thailand or Malaysia or wherever he's from and found a real black magic sorcerer.
Exactly.
But if you look him up, like he was credited in movies as far back as at least the early 60s. Like he'd been around.
Yes.
He wasn't some backwoods sorcerer. He was just an actor.
Yeah. One of the other things I really like about this movie is that, the different curses, you get to see the names of the curses as he's doing them.
I like that a lot too. Almost like it's a different chat. Like, you see in like a Tarantino movie or whatever. It's just like, here's the chapter title card of the next scene. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot too.
The freeze frame intro, the new character card. Like movies. I love that part.
Yep,
well,
me too.
And also how much it focuses on the physical and psychic toll that doing black magic takes on its practitioners. So, like when the monk is trying to pull those nails out of the photograph and they're coming up through his hand.
Yeah.
Or when he's casting the spell sitting in the bathtub as he's shitting blood into the water.
Yeah, at first I'm like, is he just farting in the water? And then you see the red. It's like,
That's one of the grossest scenes in the movie is when he's trying to pull those nails out and then he opens up that pot that's got the fetuses and the blood and all the body parts inside of it, and then he starts drinking out of that. That is unreal, that scene.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the most notorious part of this movie, would be the because I remember reading and hearing things about the fetus broth scene long before I actually saw this movie.
And it's just there. I mean, there's just happens to be a pot full of like...
Yeah, that would be like the big set, or one of the big set pieces in an American horror movie, right?
Yes.
Like they would make such a big deal about it. And here it's just, oh, nope, I just have this pot of babies.
Pot of Babies. That's the name of my metal band. All right. Excellent. All right, are we ready to move on to our next film? Brian, what are we going to talk about next?
We're going to talk about Possessed Part 2. And why Part 2? Because it's the same director and you can watch either in any order. They're no relation to each other other than they feature possession. And this movie is so crazy. I wanted you guys to see that one before Part 1. So this movie is from 1984. Possessed 2. Yim Guai Fat Quang, which means either lustful or seductive ghost runs amok, is the title. And the director is David Lai Dai Wai. Did the first Possessed, and I especially know him also for Savior of the Soul Part 1 and 2, which are more action fantasy sort of movies. Spiritual Love, and then a sort of a gangster movie he did called Runaway Blues were some of the things that I really liked that this guy did. And so Possessed 2 kind of starts off with a real jackass of a character, Inspector Sue, and his pregnant wife and child going to look for a new apartment. They come across a cheap apartment, but there's a graveyard behind the place, and they end up taking the apartment anyway, which basically leads to the wife having a really awful miscarriage, and then the wife and the daughter becoming possessed. And that's the setup for the movie. What did you guys think of this one?
This was the craziest fucking movie I may have ever seen in my life. I know. When I got done, I'm like, what in the hell? I loved it. I mean, this one's, would you say, the most Evil Dead of them?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
For
It's just
sure.
batshit fucking I turned to Tiff, I'm like, she did not really watch it, and we're going to bed. I'm like, that might have been the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen.
I'm so glad with that reaction.
It just never stops. It never fucking stops.
No,
and
it does
it gets
not.
crazier and crazier, and they just keep inventing ways to finish it. And you're like, why is there a computer now? Why is this guy need a program to? Why is this even Why is any of this happening? The whole last hour, I'm like, what? Why? But
The thing
keep
with
going.
the computer, Ryan, do you know, did the Manitou ever get a release in Hong Kong? Because that's the only
That I don't know.
supernatural movie where a computer is part of the solution that I can think of.
It is. I mean, I
guess
can't.
maybe
I can't
people
think of it
speak.
being released there, but the Hare Krishna with the 80s technology in the truck is just one of the most amazing things I've seen.
Yes.
And by amazing, you mean what the fuck?
Super high tech. Hare Krishners.
Oh my God.
And if I never hear that song again, I'll be a happy man.
I actually kind of dug it. Like,
Oh, it's just it's
I
an
was-
earworm, man. It's just like totally stuck on my head for days.
I was at least a couple of sheets to the wind when I rewatched this one. Like, when we had the lineup, and Ryan asked me if I'd seen this, I was like, I don't think so. And I looked up images from it to try to jog my memory. It's like, God, none of this looks familiar. And then I started watching and was like, oh my God, I have. Because I think, so Ryan's kind of been my guide through a lot of this stuff, the harder to see ones. And I think this was one of the first movies you ever gave me, actually.
That's
So
possible.
It's been so long since I've seen it, and I've seen so much other brain rotting insanity since then that it just kind of blended into the background. But then as it started going along, I'm like, oh right, this is the one where this thing happens. The little girl is the vampire, and the wife turns into the werewolf, and it's partially because his apartment has bad feng shui. I remember when Mike goes, or I told you guys, don't worry about this being part 2 because it has nothing to do with the first one. So any confusion you may feel is part of the narrative. Mike goes, well, that's good because I still have no idea what I watched. I'm like, yeah, did you like the part where the guy fucks the werewolf in the pile of dead pigs?
Oh my God.
And you are part of a rarefied group of people, and you can say that phrase, that sentence. Did you like the part where the guy fucks the werewolf on a pile of dead pigs, and have somebody know what the hell you're talking about and not think you're having some kind of psychotic break?
The morbidly obese guy on the pile of pigs.
Yes.
That makes part of that makes it for me. I mean,
And also the black guy with the super racist
God.
bit where
That-
he's talking about being an African warrior, and he has the little necklace of light up skulls.
unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I apologize, you guys, for the quality of that video, but that's one of the things with Hong Kong films. I mean, this one has not seen like a newer release. You know, we had a VCD of it back in the day, a VHS, which is uncut but full frame, and then there's the Laserdisc, which is what I sent you, which is, I think, uncut, but it's not perfect. It's got the burned-in subtitles, so anytime the screen is white or somebody's wearing white, you don't see them. The subtitles dip below sometimes. I sent along the DVD as well, but, you know, Brian said you guys would probably only have time to do one, so the DVD that came out, you know, probably 15 years ago looks much better. The subtitles are much better, but they cut out all of the fun stuff.
Oh,
So
what's the point?
I would like for you guys to watch that version too, just to see some of the scenes with better subtitles, but you know, all of the fun stuff is gone. So this movie certainly for me deserves some of these, you know, a new upgrade like we've been seeing for a lot of the Hong Kong horror movies. So You know,
Right.
this is how we saw these movies back in the day. I mean, I first bought it on VHS back in the day, and it was dark and full frame, and I still loved the hell out of it. And it took me a few years to get that Laserdisc, and that was
and let's
still
be
the best
honest.
way.
Let's be honest. Slightly better subtitles are not going to make it make any more sense.
No,
so
I
you
was gonna
might as
say.
well see the version with more gore.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
And
So I had to do that.
and this one also has a little something extra for Jason. Which robot was that watch?
Right. Right.
Because that thing has a name, right?
Yeah, like Kronos or something like that.
It was its own
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like one of the like a rip off of a Japanese one called Gold Laitan.
Oh, okay.
Is what it looked like to me, but I'd have to look at it again.
That was cool.
I used to have one of those watches. It popped off, turned into a robot. It was so cool.
I'd forgotten about that part too. So when I got to that, I was like, "Oh, thank God, Jason's gonna at least like something out of these." Even if it's a 2-second shot of a little kid with a Transformers watch.
Oh, and that that little kid is so funny in that scene, and that is such a good example of Hong Kong or Chinese culture fat shaming, where they if they call you Fei Jai, that you're a fat pig. That's basically what it is. And
Yeah, there's
and if it's
always
your
a character
relatives, your relatives will actually say that to you. At least my wife is Chinese, so this is only from my small perspective of dealing with her family. They will say stuff like that to you. Just her family will be just like, "Oh, you know what? You got really fat." and as Americans, we're not used to hearing that sort of thing. But in actuality, they're not meaning it in a mean way. They're there to tell you the truth, and that's all it is. So that the father chastising the fat kid there kind of reminded me of my wife's family a little bit.
that to us Westerners, it looks like bullying, but it's just a cultural thing. Where like it's just, yeah, it's not a big deal.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. So there you have. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say that all three of these movies, I mean, we kind of bounced around talking about different scenes and stuff, and all of the things we've said, like I mentioned, probably make us all sound like it's time for us to be carted off to the asylum for a checkup. But like watching him like straight through doesn't, again, make him make a whole lot more sense all the time. And definitely Possessed 2 is the weirdest of the bunch. But for anyone listening who's like, what is wrong with these people? What are they talking about? Trust me, go seek out all of these movies and all of the other ones and just cram as much of this into your face as you can, because it's the best. There's no other cinematic experience quite like watching a balls to the wall Hong Kong horror movie.
I can agree with that. I mean, just watching these, it was just so much fun, and it definitely took me back to the days of, the late '80s when I was, trading tapes in the mail. Yeah.
Did you get a lot of, like, I know you've seen some of these through those tape trading days. Were there a lot of, like, and you've talked about how guys would put, like, trailers and things
Yes,
as extras
that was
on their tapes. Did you get a lot of trailers for...
Got a lot of stuff like
movies
that,
like this?
or
Yeah.
just like scenes from films that some of which I'm still trying to figure out which ones they are to this day. There was this one guy that would he'd send you the movie, and then there'd be like another half an hour to an hour's worth of just random shit he'd throw on the tape, where it'd be just like scenes from like a Hong Kong film, or a fight scene from a Cynthia Rothrock film, and sometimes he'd send some pretty weird and gross porn clips with totally inappropriate songs overdubbed on top of it. Like he sent a bestiality one time, a lady with a dog with the song "How Much Is That Doggy in the Window" over top,
Oh, no.
and that song is totally ruined for me to this day.
Who is the bootlegger?
Oh, it's been so long I couldn't tell. I would have.
Do you still
no
have
idea.
the tape of the trailers?
I think I still got some of them. Yeah, some of the more, get me arrested type of stuff did get destroyed once.
Good idea.
Once I became a father, but
as far as like the Hong Kong ones, I'd love to take a crack at trying to help you figure out what those were.
Yeah, sure. I'll see if I can still find some of them. Yeah. Some of them are probably more obvious than they should be, but I'll see if I can find some of them. Yeah. All right, there you have it, folks. Hong Kong horror. Let's rate these. I'm really curious to see where these are going to land for some of us. Jason, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, Possessed is hands down number one. Nuts. And I think I just go Bewitched and then Hell Has No Boundary. Those two are fine. I'm not sure on those two, but Possessed definitely
number one for you.
Definitely. Madness.
Okay. Brian?
Hell Has No Boundary first. Like I said, that not only my favorite of the night, but just one of my favorites in general.
Okay.
And then Possessed 2 and Bewitched are different enough. Like, I had Bewitched and then Possessed 2, but as we're talking about it, now I'm switching them in my head because it just kind of depends on what you're in the mood for. If you want just unhinged insanity, Possessed 2 is the way to go. But if you want a little more of a linear story with a little more of a edge to it, then Bewitched. So I don't know. It's a toss-up for the last two. Ask me tomorrow, and my answer will be different.
All right, Ryan. What about you?
I think because I'm such a Kwai Chi Hung fanatic, I probably got to put Bewitched number one.
Okay,
I'm a big fan of the black magic films, and the Bewitched and Boxer's Omen connection to me is so strong. I have to put that one first, and then I would have to do a coin flip on Possessed 2 and Hell Has No Boundary. Like, I think maybe Hell Has No Boundary is a better, like, written sort of film, that's out there, but Possessed 2 is just so, throw everything in there but the kitchen sink, sort of like Seventh Curse, sort of batshit crazy, that it elevates the movie so much for me. So it's hard for me, a toss-up between those two.
Seventh Curse, that's a really good comparison there, for sure.
Brian had told me that I think that you guys had seen Seventh Curse, so
I initially watched it for the show, yeah.
Yeah, initially I was trying to come up with a Hong Kong comedy horror film to do on the show. But after he told me that, I could not. I had a few of them I was trying to choose from. It was either this one or Operation Pink Squad 2 was the other one that I was trying to decide on. But eventually I was just like, you know what? I think we got to roll with Possessed 2.
I was pushing for Crazy Safari, but maybe we can do a round 2 of this someday, and we'll do Pink Squad 2, because that one is a blast. The scene where they're chasing the flying ghost head with the remote control helicopter is something else.
It's fantastic.
The things Brian says out loud.
All right, for my ranking, it's Hell Has No Boundary, Possessed 2, and Bewitched. And I'm starting to wonder, like, maybe because, like, Hell Has No Boundary was the last one, so it's fresher in my head, so maybe that's why. But I want to just say, just the overall kills are just so over the top in Hell that maybe it edged out over Possessed 2. But, as we've been talking about Possessed 2, I'm remembering more and more, and it's like, oh, yeah, that one is so batshit crazy. But all right, best kill. Do you want to go first on that? Okay.
Well, I went from Possessed 2, and I was gonna be like, that time where there's some melting heads, and I'm like, that doesn't narrow it down much. So I'm gonna go with the final battle involving the flying killer mahjong tiles. Killer.
Oh yeah, the
mahjong tiles.
Mahjong tiles.
So dumb.
I love
it. It's so dumb.
They pull them off, and the things are imprinted on their faces.
I love it. Flying killer mahjong tiles.
All right, Brian.
I'm going to go with Poor Little May from Hell Has No Boundary. Not so much for the actual kill, but for all the indignities heaped upon her corpse after. Because I would consider that whole segment the story of her being killed. So I'm going to count it.
Yep. All right, Ryan.
Let's see here. I would say, just for my sheer amusement factor, death by tit punching in Possessed Part 2.
Forgot about that. Yes.
I mean, there was a bunch of stuff that we didn't talk about for Possessed 2 as far as like that kind of stuff, but the first time I saw that, I laughed my ass off years ago when I saw that. It still cracks me up.
There's a self-face removal in there. Oh, wait, keep going.
All right. Well, I'm so glad mine didn't get taken. I was really worried it was, because it is the most insane kill that I think I've ever seen. And that is when the guy gets his dick cut off by a crab in the bathtub that just happened to be there, and then is smothered to death by toilet paper.
Yeah.
It's that's freaking brilliant.
Last episode when we did the kill of the episode, and we were all complaining that all the kills were kind of the same. You don't have that problem with these movies.
No, this is true.
They are the only version of these kills ever.
That's right. That's right. If I go the rest of my life, I'll never see another guy gets his dick cut off by a crab in the bathtub and then smothered with toilet paper.
On the extras of the release of that movie, one of the writers is on there and he talks about that scene.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend that you guys watch that if you want to hear how they were just throwing out ideas, and the director was like, that'll work, that won't work. And I get they're just like, death by toilet paper. He's like, yeah, that'll work. Let's do that.
That's the
that won't cost
thing.
anything. It won't hurt the budget. Let's do that.
These are the things that made it to film. What are the fucking ideas that don't? That's
It's like,
scary.
nope, that
idea
idea is too crazy. Can't do it. Nope. Like, what? Yeah, that toilet paper had to be like 20 ply. There's so unbreakable. All right. So there you have it, folks. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish off the show with our final two segments. But first, let's hear a promo for our podcast network, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. The PFPN is home to so many great shows, such as Brett and Tony with Ash and Abe. Brett and Tony with Ash and Abe is a podcast where four friends come together to discuss a set topic, and then they'll go randomly off topic in ways you could never imagine. Also, every other week on the show, they discuss a random B movie. Why? Because B movies are the best movies. You can check out Brett and Tony with Ash and Abe and all the other shows at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the show. Have you ever been listening to a podcast and you find yourself talking to the podcast? Well, now is your chance to be heard, because here's Jason with Shoutouts.
It's time for Shoutouts! 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 Shoutouts!
All right, we asked, what are your favorite Hong Kong horror movies? And these are your answers. Of course, we knew we'd get Tim Lennemer, Attack of Tim. Up first in our Facebook group edition, he says, Mr. Vampire is an astonishing piece of work. Evil Dead 2 with hopping vampires, Taoist magic, a horny ghost going after one of the Van Helsing's character's assistants, and a completely bonkers but consistent set of rules for the supernatural menaces.
Yes, I've always been a big fan of Mr. Vampire.
The Boxer's Omen is a gross as hell cavalcade of slime, goop, spider venom, magic, religion, and a demoness who gets her skin yanked off by one of the good guys. The effects looks a lot like someone pulling a blanket off of the actress. Ugh. And lastly, he says, human meat pork buns. The Untold Story.
Oh, yeah.
Won Anthony Wong a Best Actor trophy at the Hong Kong Film Awards, and he really goes for it as a guy who kills an entire family, takes over their restaurant, and disposes of the bodies in a manner Roald Dahl would have approved of. It's way
that
more.
one is amazing, but you would quit the show if we did that on here.
That's one of the things I love that movie so much.
Oh yeah, me too.
He said it's way more grounded than the other two on my list and much stronger for it. Mm-hmm. And then we got Josh Ramos says, don't think I've seen any that were made in Hong Kong, so I will preemptively say that when Hanna-Barbera characters become public domain, Hong Kong Bowie, #1 spooky guy, will be my favorite.
Did he spell it Bowie?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be Fooey? Okay.
I know Fooey, but I wondered if, because it's #1 spooky guy, it was a Halloween
he changed
special.
it to Boo. Oh, okay.
Like,
no, I get it now. I'm sorry.
Second favorite will be the sequel, Hong Kong Bowie, Picker-Outer of the Human Eye. Yeah. All right, he was tying it in a little bit.
I get it.
And then
I like it.
Lastly, over on our Facebook page, we got Jacob McLaughlin. He says, The Boxer's Omen is one that I could only recommend to maybe less than 10 people I know. It's a disgusting movie that I love. Same with Corpse Mania.
Yes.
Lam Nai Choi's The Seventh Curse and The Cat are both wonderfully bizarre. The former is especially wild and is likely to be an October tradition for me. Demon Child Forever.
Yeah, I love both those movies. The Cat and I just blanked on it.
Seventh Curse.
Seventh Curse. Jason, that's the director of Rikio.
Oh, hell yeah. Give me
Lam Nai Choi.
Yeah.
Mike, had you seen Seventh Curse before we did it on the show, Mike?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember that was the one I brought up doing a topic of curses just so I could make you guys watch that movie.
And then when I knew it was the director of Story of Rikio, and then
yeah, it was an easy sell.
Yeah, totally easy sell. And then I had to go down the well, and that's when I found a copy of The Cat and watched that. Freaking love that one too.
Corpse Mania is tremendous as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, I've got Corpse Mania on DVD, and I just it's in the pile of it should be. I keep being tempted and like maybe I'd do that for an unwrapping, but I don't know how.
That's probably my favorite Giallo, even though it isn't really one. But it's
halfway through it turns into a Giallo film, but that is also Kwai Chi Hung, the guy who did Boxer's Omen, Bewitched, Killer Snakes, Ghost Eyes. I mean, I could go on and on.
It has necrophilia.
I know.
I
can't believe I haven't watched it.
Jacob goes on to say, Hell Has No Boundary is incredibly nasty, and it has one of the most bleak reveals that I have seen in any movie. No doubt.
Yeah.
I love it, but maybe avoid it if you don't like your horror really dark and gnarly. And lastly, he says that the Mr. Vampire movies are a blast. I'm especially fond of the third one because of how bonkers it is.
It's
Agreed.
As crazy as the fifth one.
Oh, jeez. All right, and then we have a voicemail here from Wildish Bill Fisher.
Hey, everybody, Attacker. Wildish Bill Fisher here, and I was just, I saw the online thing there. I'm tired. Sorry, guys. I looked at it really quick. I guess we're going over Kong movies that we enjoy. So obviously the original is fantastic. But if I'm honest, I'm really partial to the Peter Jackson version.
Once again, he didn't read the instructions.
Monsterverse, the Skull Island, perfection. And then when Kong and Godzilla fought each other, in Godzilla versus Kong, man, that entire scene with the aircraft carrier was freaking amazing. And I just, shit. Oh, it's supposed to be Hong Kong, not King Kong. I definitely read that. Yeah, okay, so I guess the one with the karate dog is cool. The Hong Kong Fooey is nice. And
Everybody's going straight to Hong Kong for
the
it.
Shanghai Noon movies with one Owen Wilson and
That's
Jackie
horror.
Chan are
Oh, no.
perfection. Sequel, even better than the first one. I'm going to take a nap now. All right, talk to you guys later. Keep up the good work. Bye.
He said karate dog, and I thought he was actually going to start talking about the cat, because there is a scene where a dog and a cat have kind of a crazy.
That's
kung fu
exactly
fight
what
in
I
that
thought,
movie.
too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, if you too want to leave a voicemail, you can certainly do that. It's pretty easy. You just give us a call at 415-952-6857. That's 415-95-AOTKP. Leave us that voicemail. We'll play it on the show, and that is shout-outs.
And now here's the only guy who makes puking up a bunch of centipedes look good. It's Insane Mike Saunders with Insane's Picks.
I don't know how to take that. Have you ever wished for a kick-ass movie that combines zombies and hardcore death metal?
Yeah.
Well, instead, I'm going to be talking about Death Metal Zombies from 1995, written and directed by Todd Jason Cook, who did such movies as Demon Dolls, Evil Knight, and Zombified. He is also known as Todd Falcon, a professional skateboarder who had produced and starred in several skateboarding videos and even worked on the video game Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Death Metal Zombies is a shot-on-video horror film about this metalhead Brad who enters a contest and wins an album of his favorite band, Living Corpse. When he plays the tape, it turns Brad and all of his friends into slow-moving zombies with non-existent zombie makeup. Brad's girlfriend, Angel, missed out on the party where he played the tape, saving her from becoming a zombie, although her performance would show otherwise. Now it's up to Angel and their friend Tommy to find a way to stop the zombies. The film clearly has no budget and took 9 months to shoot because it happened. They were making the movie around the time the Houston, Texas floods of 1994, which resulted in nearly 4 months of constant rain. Despite the quality of the film, it does have a shockingly impressive soundtrack. It features such bands as Deceased, Incantation, Exit 13, and everybody's favorite band, Anal Cunt. The audio in this movie is awful. You can't understand a single word people are saying most of the time. Video quality is also poor, and the performances, especially the zombies, are laughable. But hey, I've seen worse. There is some fun do-it-yourself gore, a few actual humorous moments, and of course a sweet, sweet soundtrack. So if you want some hardcore headbanging horror, go watch something else, because I'm recommending Death Metal Zombies instead. All right. That wraps up another episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. I've learned something today. You could probably make a lot of money in the early 80s by opening a mealworm farm in Hong Kong. You can follow us all over the internet. You can follow us on X, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and join us on our Discord to continue the conversation. We would also love it if you would leave us a review wherever you can leave reviews, like Apple Podcast, and we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much for listening, and also a very, very, very much special thanks going out to Ryan for joining us on the show.
Yay! Dude,
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Is there any shouting out, or people can find you in the world on the internet?
Nope, I don't do any of that stuff. They can find me at Dreamhaven Books. I'm there Tuesday through Saturday. I've got part 2 of 1983 Hong Kong Horror coming up on a YouTube video from Mr. Parka YouTube channel. That should be, we'll be recording that probably within a month. And then I just did liner notes for a Blu-ray release that's coming out, but unfortunately I cannot say what it is yet. As much as I want to, I can't say.
but I will pre-order it the second it is available.
Yeah, I think you'll really like it. That's not Hong Kong either. It's Japanese, I'll tell you that.
Ooh. Oh.
Well, thanks for being on, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been fun having you on, man. Thank you so much.
I'm glad someone around here likes Hong Kong movies.
All right, so that's the show, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time on Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer Podcast.